It's the final weekend of the WPIAL football regular season, and the top seeds for the playoffs should be, hey, who should be number one in single A? And can Fort Cherry really win another championship without Matt Sig throwing? And a 5-sport athlete is making WPIAL football history. Welcome to another edition of Varsity Extra podcast on the Post-Gazette Sports YouTube channel. I'm Mike White of the Post-Gazette, along with high school sports coordinator Keith Barnes. As we come to you, can you believe it, the final weekend of the high school football regular season? We're going to give you who the top seed should be, talk about some shining stars, and pick the big games this week on this final weekend of the season. But Keith Barnes, you have something to say first.
Yes, I do. Sports fans, when the game's on, there's only one spot you need to be. Dave & Buster's in Homestead. Catch every play on massive HD TVs, fuel up with fan favorites like wings and burgers, and keep the fun going with the latest games and ice-cold drinks. Whether it's happy hour, game day, or just a night out with friends, Dave & Buster's Homestead is where Pittsburgh goes to eat, drink, play, and watch sports. Proud sponsor of the Post-Gazette Sports WPIAL channel. Now, Mike, we're talking about bracketology. I can't believe we're talking about bracketology already. I can't believe it's the end of the regular season, but here we are.
Yeah, you know what, Keith? Besides bracketology, hasn't the weather been unbelievable again on Friday nights this year?
And what you say, as soon as you say that, you know it's going to happen.
But this Friday is supposed to be good again. But seriously, it's been warm. There's been a few nights that the temperature has been maybe low 40s, but it's been unbelievable. But okay.
Great. I will agree. And I said the same thing to Vince Sortino last week when I was at the WPL Tennis Championships. He said, yeah, the weather's been great. And I just looked at him and said, you're looking for snow at the WPL finals this year, just because you said that.
Well, probably. But here we go. All right. The WPL football committee will meet. Well, I think they'll talk Friday, but they'll meet Saturday. The pairings and the seedings will be released Saturday afternoon. No more of this Monday stuff, but they've been doing this on Saturdays for a few years now. And we're here to tell you, now we can't say definitely these should be because there's some games this weekend that really matter, but we're here to tell you who the top 4 seeds in each classification should be. Are you ready, Keith? Here we go.
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
6A. You start first. This is pretty easy though because there's only one conference and it's determined by where you finish. So
there's only going to be one alteration to this possibly. I mean, number 1 is going to be Central Catholic. North Allegheny, 67-0 against Pine Ridge last week. Doesn't matter. They're still the number 2 no matter what. 3 is going to come down to the Norwin and Mount Lebanon game this week. So it depends. Pick your winner. If Norwin wins, they're the 3. I think they're going to. So they're my 3 seed. Mount Lebanon goes in at the 4. You know, Cannon McMillan still has a chance, but they'd have to beat Central Catholic. I don't see that happening. So Mount Lebanon is probably your 4 seed.
No. If Norwin beats Mount Lebanon, Cannon McMillan is automatically the 4th seed because they beat Mount Lebanon. The only way Norwin can't get in is if Cannon McMillan would beat Central Catholic, which ain't going to happen. No. So that's pretty much the 4 seeds. Central 1, North Allegheny 2. The winner of that Norwin Mount Lebanon game is in, and also probably unless Cannon McMillan would beat what did I say? Cannon McMillan. Yeah, Cannon McMillan's automatically in. Norwin would be out if Cannon McMillan would beat Central Catholic. All right.
And Mount Lebanon would win. Mount Lebanon would have to win too. It would have
Mount Lebanon wins. Right. They'd have to beat Norwin. Okay. On to 5A. This could be interesting a little bit once you get past the first 3.
Yes.
I'll go first in this one. I have Pine first, no doubt, no question. No. Peters Township second, I don't think, no doubt, no question. No. Woodland Hills third. They're going to win the Big East. They have won the clinch first in the Big East Conference. 4th is interesting. You could go Penn Trafford, you could go Moon, and then you've got the wild cards. I say Penn Trafford goes 3rd, even though they're going to finish second in that conference because they beat Moon. I think that gives them the edge for 3rd, and I think 4 goes Moon. Definitely, the wild cards will be interesting. I think Bethel Park definitely gets one. And a lot of people have said, the Allegheny 6 will get both wild cards because they get 2 wild cards in this conference. Bethel Park gets one. A lot of people are saying South Fayette will get in. No way. They really haven't done much as far as a quality win. So I think South Fayette, Kiski area, Armstrong, Gateway, there's a lot to be played out. Gateway lost to Plum and Armstrong. Kiski area lost to Gateway. And South Fayette, Keith, their quarterback, Drew Wolhorski, got hurt last week in the fourth quarter against Bethel Park. I don't know his status. They really haven't done anything as far as a quality win. They've gotten blown out in their tough games.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're a definite wild card. Who are you saying top four?
My top four is Pine Richland, Peters Township, Woodland Hills, obviously. And I go with you on Penn Trafford. I think they're extremely underrated. I mean, they've got wins against Moon, Norwin, and Mount Lebanon this year. Their only loss is the Woodland Hills. So I have no problem putting them in at 4. I think it'll be an interesting game to see if they play Pine Richland, because they can be playing in 6A next year, both of them with the realignment. So who knows?
All right. Let's move on. 4A. You go first. Who are your top 4? Depending on game. This is tough because of games this week. Right.
My picks for the top 4 are McKeesport at number 1, Newcastle number 2, Mars number 3, and I'm going to go Montour at number 4. I just that's how I see the top 4 working out. And the big reason is because I'm making a prediction right now. I think Trinity loses to Bell Vernon this week.
That could happen. It could
definitely happen.
But I think
schedule this year.
I think even if they beat Bell Vernon, they're not my number 4 team. Here's mine. McKeesport 1. I think it's everybody's 1. Yeah. I'm going Mars number 2, even if Newcastle beats Blackhawk this week and wins that conference. Why am I going Mars? They beat Bethel Park, who is likely to be a 5A playoff team. They beat Montour on the road. Newcastle, they lost to Aliquippa at home. That was when Aliquippa had their quarterback. I just think they have their resume is better than Newcastle.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. I consider that too. It was between them and Newcastle as far as I was concerned. But yeah, I have no problem with Mars number 2.
Newcastle should beat Blackhawk, but they have a bad loss to Hopewell.
Yes.
A really bad loss to Hopewell. They did beat Aliquippa, but that was without their quarterback, and they did beat Montour, so they have a couple good wins. But I don't think they stack up to Mars. I think, and really, you might say it doesn't make a difference between 2 and 3, but it really does, because 2 will get the number 7 seed, 3 will get the number 6 seed. Might be a tougher game. The big question is, what about Aliquippa? We got to talk about them before we move on to 3A. They cannot get one of the top 2 seeds. There are 3. Are there 3? No, there's only 2 wild cards in this. They can't finish first or second, so they would have to get one of the wild cards. They're going to beat Ambridge this week. Right. But they could finish 4th. They could finish 4th. Even if they finish 3rd or 4th, I think,
is it Aliquippa or Chartiers Valley is what it's going to
be. Exactly. But, because I think this needs to be looked at. Aliquippa without their quarterback, much different team without Marcus Council. I watched that game last week against Montour. Aliquippa is nothing more than a pretty good 4A team, but there's no great team in 4A. But the committee has to look at that. I know they maybe don't like to look at injuries, but you have to, because it affects the team. He's done for the season, and I'm telling you, they are nowhere near what they were offensively. Marcus Council, they weren't a great offensive team anyway. No. They are nowhere near what they are without him. Because of that, but Char Valley has only one quality win I see over Montour. Yeah. And Aliquippa won at Mars. They beat West Allegheny, who could end up second or even winning that conference.
They could win that conference.
So in light of that, even though Char Valley just doesn't impress me enough, I'm going Aliquippa with one of the wild cards.
Char Valley doesn't impress me either, but I don't think they keep Aliquippa out. I really don't. I think if it comes down to Char Valley and Aliquippa, I think the WPIAL has a tendency to go with pedigree. That's something that's done for years, and
they do. They
definitely see them going with the quips. There's no doubt about that. If it comes down to a shot between Char Valley, which has not had a really good history, let's be honest about it, and Aliquippa, you're going to take Aliquippa. At least that's how I see it happening.
I would right now, even though they don't have their quarterback. All right. On to 3A. You go first in this one.
I looked at this. I think the top 2 are pretty straightforward. Avonworth and Omani Christian. They look like they're heading for a final together.
Provided Omani beats Freeport this week.
Yeah, Freeport's a lot tougher than people think they are. but they have a very bad loss themselves against Hopewell. So that's one of those things you got to look at too. Number 3, after watching Elizabeth Forward last week, what they did against Southmoreland, I know Southmoreland kind of did a little bit of smoke and mirrors with the 8-0 record, but it was still a good team. And Elizabeth Forward's really good. And we'll talk a little bit more about them later as we go along. And number 4, I'm going with Highlands. I think the Golden Rams have had a good year. They beat Freeport, which is I think a pretty good team, and I think they might be the number 4 team out there right now. And you can make an argument for Southmoreland or Central Valley there, but
Central Valley. I'm going Central Valley, number 4. First 3, I agree with you. Provided Amani beats Freeport.
Yes.
Avonworth, Amani, Elizabeth Ford. I would say either Highlands or Central Valley. I don't think it's Southmoreland. They really haven't beaten anybody. Central Valley's got some good wins, played a really tough schedule. I'm going Central Valley also 4th. Highlands has come on. They did beat Freeport, but I'm taking Central Valley. Okay. Bell, 2A.
You go first on this one.
I'll go first on this one. South Allegheny, number 1, definitely, if they beat Steel Valley, which I think they will. That's for pretty much first place in that conference. Yeah. Number 2, Western Beaver, has to be them. Number 3, I say Western Beaver. Number 3, I'm going to say either Apollo Ridge or Washington, or whoever finishes second in that Midwestern Conference. Apollo Ridge is a nice win over Steel Valley. Washington, I'd like to see. I take that back. I'm taking it back. Number 2 has got to be the winner of Seton LaSalle and Washington. If Seton LaSalle wins, they're definitely number 2. If Washington wins, you can make a case for Western Beaver. I forgot about Seton. So in that number 4 spot, I'm going to go with either Apollo Ridge or the loser of Washington, Seton LaSalle, or who finishes second in Midwestern. But I'm going to go probably, it's tough to say. Those Midwestern games, there are.
Well, we lost Mike there for a second, but he's back. Okay, Mike, let's finish it up. What do you got in 2A?
Back to talk about the 2A. That Midwestern, there's too much that could happen in there. I don't know who to go with there. So who's your 2A?
I'm looking at South Allegheny, number 1. I'm with you on the Seton LaSalle Washington winner. Whoever wins that game's number 2. I'm looking at Seton LaSalle. I think that they're just the number 2 team right now. I go Western Beaver 3. I like what they've done up there. I think they've kind of flown a little bit under the radar, but they've been pretty good. And 4, I'm going Washington as the 4, or Seton LaSalle if they lose that game. And 5, my 5 is Apollo Ridge too. I think Apollo Ridge has had a great year this year.
Okay, single A. Who is first? Clairton or Fort Cherry?
Clairton for me. I don't see anybody challenging Clairton until the final. And let's be honest about this. All this is going to be who's going to be wearing the home uniform at Acrisure Stadium, because I don't see anybody beating either of those 2 teams coming down the stretch. Fort Cherry, Clairton they're headed for a battle. They're headed for a final. And I think Clairton's going to get the number 1. Fort Cherry's going to get the number 2. I don't think you can argue with what Clairton's done with 7 straight shutouts since losing to Monty Christian.
I think you could make it a toss up, but yeah. I would go. I'll go Clairton number 1, not because of what they've done offensively, because they've scored a ton of points all the time, and but the defense, what they've done, is impressive. And Fort Cherry, their defense is pretty good too. I'll go number 1 and number 2 with them. I don't know if it matters a ton. Who's 1 or who's 2, except for your egos. I don't think it matters a ton.
3 and 4, though, I say Laurel is 3, and I say Southside's 4.
Well, Laurel, if they beat Neshannock, if Neshannock wins, I still think Laurel's third, because they probably will still finish first with tiebreaker points in that conference. Mm-hmm. Who did you say number 4?
Southside.
I'm going Bishop Canavan.
I don't have a problem with that. I had them with my 5, and I kind of hemmed and hawed on them.
They beat Steel Valley and Laurel. So that's why I'm going Bishop Canavan. And by the way, Jeanette's in the playoffs for 46th time. That's second in WPIAL history. Aliquippa has been in the most, 48 times. But Question. Matt Sigurt's thrown one pass in the last 4 games. Can they win a championship without him? He supposedly has a little bit of an arm problem. I don't know how serious it is. He's doing the job defensively and running the ball as a quarterback. But can they really win a championship without throwing a pass? Or are they just doing this, Keith, by not showing anything because they don't need to? He doesn't need to impress colleges if he can throw the ball. He's, if he does have a little bit more, are they just not using him to not show anything until they have to?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think you want to be preventive of him. If you don't have to throw the ball, why throw it? They're running through everybody. I mean, they've just had such a great running game this year with Sig and Hugh. I mean, they compound people. So why throw it if you don't have to? And if his arm was a little tweaked, you give him another couple of weeks to get all healed up and everything like that, because you've got an easy one this week and against Sarah Catholic, and then you're going to have the 16 or 15 seed in the first round of the playoffs.
They won't need to throw again.
Let him break. Let him get that break. Let him take that break, and let him heal up, so that when you get into the quarterfinals, semifinals, and then see Clairton in the finals, you're all ready to go.
I don't think they'll need to throw a pass until the semifinals. Seriously,
I don't think so either.
I mean, look what they did to Bishop Cannon. I think he might have thrown one pass that game. Not sure which game he threw a pass, but I don't think they're going to need to throw a pass until the semifinals.
Nope.
All right. That's our segment. First segment.
All righty. Well, that's our first segment. And thanks again to Dave & Buster's for sponsoring the Post-Gazette Varsity Extra podcast. And we'll be back with a few things, including our Shining Stars, our Pick Six, and, of course, the Post-Gazette Fantasy League. We'll be right back in just a few seconds. Hi, I'm Post-Gazette High School Sports Coordinator Keith Barnes, along with my esteemed colleague Mike White. We're here for our Shining Stars segment. Mike, who's your Shining Star this week?
My Shining Star, I guess his appropriate first name is Robert, but it's Bobby Fadden of Mohawk High School. He is making WPIAL football WPIAL football history. Keith, he's a 5-sport athlete. That's impressive enough. Football, quarterback. He also made the WPIAL AA golf championships, individuals. In basketball season, he scored over 1,000 points. In baseball, he's a starter, and he also runs a little bit in track. I think this kid is amazing. I really do. A 5-sport athlete. Now, well, here's what he has done. Last week, 2 weeks ago, he went over 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards receiving in his career. That is something. He now, after last week, has 1,062 yards on the ground, 2,815 passing, and 1,404 receiving. He was a receiver when he was younger as a freshman, sophomore. When he wasn't the starting quarterback. But a 1,000 guy, Keith, that's practically unheard of in the WPIAL. The only guy known, and I keep these things, the only guy known to be a 1,000 guy, and he's not this guy. Bobby Fadden's not at this old. Darius Wise from Beaver High School, and graduated. He played 13, 14, 15, 16. Listen to what he had. 4,273 yards rushing, 2,229 yards passing, and 1,074 yards receiving on 64 catches. He was a receiver his first couple of years and a running back. Keith, that guy, those stats, they're incredible. But Bobby Fadden, what he's done, he didn't have a great week this week. He threw for 150 yards. But what he's done at 1,000, Bobby Fadden, you are a shining star.
Absolutely. Mine, I just stuck with a kid who plays football, and that's Ryan Messina, the quarterback from Elizabeth Ford. I haven't had a chance to really see him play, but my question is, why are colleges looking at this kid a lot closer than they are? I mean, last week, he's 6'4", 225. He's got size. He's a dual threat. Last week, against an undefeated Southmoreland team in a 42-0 win, 14 of 19 for 160 yards passing, 23 carries, 193 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground. I mean, he's just had an amazing year, and he's the reason why Elizabeth Forward is the number 3 team in Class 3A this year. He is just that good. I just can't understand why that hasn't translated into maybe some schools looking at him. I don't know why they're shying away.
Well, it could be the way the things are nowadays with the transfer portal. The team's getting so many more kids out of that are already in college, and that affects some high school recruiting. He could be one of those guys. But, yeah, he's good. He's really good. He could be a 1,000 guy in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about we move on? Next segment, Pick 6. Top games this weekend in the final regular season of WPIAL. And don't forget the City League playoffs.
This is true.
Here we go. Let's start off with those City League playoffs. Thursday night, semifinals, Westinghouse.
Saturday finals.
What am I talking about? Sorry, the finals.
Saturday final, 3 p.m. at Couple Stadium.
At Couple Stadium on Saturday. Westinghouse versus University Prep. University Prep handed Westinghouse a loss a few weeks ago. Westinghouse trying to win title number 4 in a row, I believe.
Yes.
Who do you think? Does University Prep pull it off again, or does Westinghouse?
Yes. I like University Prep, and here's why. I've seen Westinghouse twice this year. I saw them both times against Alderdice. They started slow both times, and yes, they built towards wins. But here's the thing with the Bulldogs: they commit way too many penalties. This is a team that just there's so many holding penalties, false start penalties, mental mistakes that are going to kill you in a championship game. And University Prep is on a roll. I mean, this is the first time that Westinghouse has lost a City League game since 2021 when they lost in the championship game against Alderdice. That's when U Prep beat them. So this year, so I see U Prep coming back. I see them beating them. They handled Brashear, of course, not surprisingly, in the semifinals, but. Westinghouse has had a little bit of a problem with its discipline, and this was a nothing game against Alderdice at halftime. So I can really see University Prep maybe getting on them early, getting up maybe a touchdown or two, forcing Westinghouse out of its comfort zone and playing from behind, which is something that team really hasn't done that much of.
Well, first off, I got to give a shout out to Lou Berry, the University Prep coach, and Dante Green gets a lot of pub, and rightly so for what he's done at Westinghouse. But Lou Berry is one of the fixtures at University Prep. He always has a good team. And they come from different schools there, and he molds them together. Shout out to him for what he's done over the years in the City League, because they're always, if they're not in a championship game, they're very close to it. He seems to have a really good team this year. And I think what you said, mistakes and penalties be the key to this game. If Westinghouse controls them, they win the game. And I'm going to go Westinghouse to come back and beat University Prep. Ooh. All right. Next game, a 3A contest, North Catholic at Hopewell. Playoff implications here. 2 good quarterbacks, Joey Felitsky, one of the leading passers, WPIAL, James Armstrong of Hopewell, having a good year as a sophomore, one of the top sophomores. I'm going to go Hopewell on this one. It seems like every time North Catholic plays a pretty good team, they struggle a little bit offensively. Joey Felitsky doesn't throw for as many yards. I think Hopewell at home wins this game at Tony Dorsett Stadium.
I'm going to go the opposite way, and this is why. I think Joey Felitsky has a lot more options and a lot more weapons than James Armstrong does. Armstrong's going to beat you. He's a great dual threat quarterback. He can beat you on the ground. He has a great arm. I mean, I can't even explain how good his arm is for a high school sophomore. He has lightning and a cannon for his left arm. But I think Felitsky has a lot more weapons around him that he can utilize. I think they're going to be able to break down Hopewell a little bit. I think North Catholic wins this game, and Hopewell ends up pretty much doing exactly what they did last year, which was, finished, I think, 2-4 in the conference. And but with their overall record, I think they're going to be hoping for a wild card this year.
You said Cannon at quarterback. There's Ricky Cannon at Perry with Darrell Porter, a famous City League quarterback.
There you go.
All right, next game, California at Jeff-Morgan. This could decide the Tri-County South Championship. Deacon DeHote, other guys, Jeff-Morgan at home. I like the Rockets to soar.
I do too. I mean, California's got a great running game with Malachi Peak, but if you look at this game last year, Jeff-Morgan won by a point. And I think it could be that way again. This is going to be a real nip-tuck game. And here's the thing. If Jeff-Morgan wins this game, you're looking at possibly a 3-way tie for the Tri-County South between California, Jeff-Morgan, and Bentworth, and your man Ben Hayes. They could end up being a conference champion this year.
Hey, I have a question for you. Malachi Peak for California, if they played Hopewell with James Boo Boo Armstrong, would it be Peak Boo Boo? Peekaboo.
Ooh.
Yeah, just wondering.
Oh.
Just wondering. I'll be here all week. Next game, Washington and Seton LaSalle. The winner is a conference champ. The loser goes into second place. You go first. Who do you got?
I like Seton LaSalle. I'll tell you what Tim Storino has done at Seton LaSalle this year is absolutely incredible. To have this team in contention for a conference title, you lose your quarterback, Anthony Smith, to the whole legal issue, the whole injunction. Then he decides to transfer to West Virginia. Then you lose Khalil Taylor goes to Pine Richland. You lose Trey Littlejohn. He goes to Penn Hills. All of a sudden, but you're still in contention for maybe the number 2 seed in Class 2A and a conference title. Kudos to him, and I think they're going to pull this one out. If the way they've been playing, I just like the Rebels. I like where they're going. Washington's good, but I like what Tim Storino is doing at Seton LaSalle. I think they got this game.
Well, Seton was ranked number 1 at the start of the year, and it seems like people forgot about them right away because they got trounced in that first game by North Catholic. They should not have forgotten about them. They have proved something. I think they win this game also and the conference championship. Steel Valley at South Allegheny. Another conference title on the line here. Well, South Allegheny has already clinched at least a tie for first, but they will finish with the number 1 seed with a win. And Keith, this is their first conference championship since 1986. 1986, 39 years ago. And if they win this game, they will finish the regular season undefeated for the first time in school history at a school that opened in 1966. And you know what? It's perfect time to do it. South Allegheny will finish perfect. They'll do enough against the Ron Barksdale, and they will win. And one of the reasons, Drew Cook and his brother Elijah.
There's a lot cooking in Glassport right now, that's for sure. And I agree with you. I think Gladiators they're just really, really good right now. I think they're a little underrated. I think overall, I think a lot of people around the state are kind of looking like, who's South Allegheny? But this is a really good team, and I think they're going to surprise some people in the WPIAL playoffs and possibly in the state tournament.
All right, last game here on Pick 6, Montour at West Allegheny. If Newcastle wins, they look like they're going to win. Well, it depends on who wins these games. But if West Allegheny wins, they could win the conference championship or finish as the number 1 seed. They will win, no matter what Newcastle does. So if Montour wins and Newcastle wins, Montour can't win the conference championship. No. I'm going to take West Allegheny. I think they're playing their best football. Brody Cornell has really come on and done some things for them. I like their defense enough. I'm going to go West Allegheny. I'm
going Montour, and here's why. I was at the game last year. They took them to overtime. They ended up Caden Halachko got stuffed on a 4th and goal in overtime, and then West Allegheny was able to win it. I think that is going to set a burr under their saddle coming into this game. Montour is really going to want to pay them back for last year and losing because of that, they ended up losing the outright conference title because they ended up in a 3-way tie with West Allegheny and Aliquippa last year. I think Lucero is going to have them ready to go, and I think this team's peaking at the right time. I'm going with Montour.
A burr under their saddle.
A burr under their saddle.
Shouldn't that be like the Char Valley Colts or the Laurel Highlands Mustangs or the Plum Mustangs?
More than likely, but I went with the metaphor. I guess Spartans did ride horses.
I don't know about that. Let's move on. Last segment, Post-Gazette Fantasy League. We've been going all year, and guess what, Keith? You're done.
I know.
I win again. I'm 6-3. You're 3-6. We pick a quarterback, running back, receiver, and a kicker every week and keep track of points and touchdowns. And I won the first 4 weeks. You won the next 3. I won the next 2. Last week, I won with 47 points. My guys were Mason Mitchell, Gateway, Malachi Peak, California, Dimitri Lowe of Ringgold. He only had 1 touchdown. And Ty Koski of Beaver. Malachi Peak is peaking. He had 18 points for me last week. You had Jonah Williamson of Trinity, Trey Gessman of Albert Gallatin, Jaden McCray of Apollo Ridge, and Anthony Maiello of Peters Township. Mitchell and Peak won it for me. They both had 18 points. So let's go on to this week, the final week. Maybe you're playing for pride this week.
I'm playing for pride.
Then you have to put away the equipment and think about basketball, okay?
Yes, I will.
All right. You go first. Quarterback. Who do you got?
I got Jeff Thompson at Clairton. And,
Wait,
Clairton,
you didn't take him earlier this year?
No, I didn't. I took the wide receiver. I took the running back, but I did not take the quarterback this year. But no, Jeff Thompson. They're playing Brentwood this week. Brentwood's coming off of a shootout game against Leechburg last week. So I'm thinking if they're going to give up a lot of points, Clairton's going to be more than willing to take them. And I think Jeff Thompson's going to have himself a big game. He's got like 25 or 26 touchdown passes this year. Very underrated as far as quarterback numbers go.
While we're doing this, I'm going to look this up because we keep track. I'm going to look it up. I
know I've taken Michael Ruffin, and I know I took I took Brandon Murphy, but I did not take Jeffrey Thompson.
Well, I am going to look it up on my laptop. But before we do that, I will take Tegan Kraus of Waynesburg High School. They play Stowe Rocks. Now, maybe you haven't heard of this kid. He's the team's leading rusher, but he throws some TDs also. So I think he can get some running and passing. They play Stowe Rocks, who struggles. I'll take Tegan Kraus.
There you go.
Running back, I'm going first. I'm going from Tegan to Tevin. Tevin Owen Kratzenberg of Highlands scored 14 touchdowns in the last 4 games. He is my guy, Tegan and Tevin.
He was my guy. You got me again on that one. But I have a secondary pick. I'm going to go with Derek Diamond of Fraser. And Fraser's a great story this year. I mean, going from where they were last year, they're going to be in the playoffs this year, and they've got Springdale on Friday night. So,
he was my second pick.
There you go. We flipped it. It was one or the other for me, too. So,
and I just checked. You have not taken Jeff Thompson. I thought you took every Clairton player imaginable, but you have not taken Jeff Thompson. Okay. See? Go wide receiver. Who's going first?
Cox of Newcastle.
I haven't thought about him. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kai Cox he's had a great year. He has a great relationship with Marino Graham. I think they've got a pretty good matchup coming up this week. So I'm gonna go with Kai Cox. I am going
Luca Neal. He'll kneel all over you. He's a receiver, but last year, remember, he played running back a lot with the Wildcat at the end of the year. He has been a receiver this year and done a lot of good things. But did you see the other night he ran for over 200 yards with only 10 carries? So I guess he's playing Wildcat again. Are they doing the same thing, going to this Wildcat a lot at the end of the year? But I'm taking Luca Neal of Avonworth. He also has a touchdown defensively. Very good offensively and defensively. Kicker, my kicker, McAllister Steele of Jeanette. He has a steel toe.
There you go. Sounds like it.
He has 4 field goals this year. They play Riverview. They're going to score some points. He's going to get some extra points, maybe a field goal. McAllister Steele. And maybe Steely McBeam is his cousin.
Oh, wow. That's a reach. I'll tell you what, Riverview's a little better than you think they are. I've seen them a couple of times this year. I'm going with Nick Massey of Fort Cherry. They got Sarah Catholic this week. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored against the Eagles, and I think Nick Massey's going to put a few through the uprights.
All right, there you go. There's our show for this week, who our top seeds will be. Don't forget, the WPIAL football parent seedings come out Saturday afternoon. We will have stories right away on our website. We'll have the matchups on our website. Keith will break down each classification and pick a winner of each of them. And next week, we'll talk about the playoffs and give our champions for each of them. And Friday night, we'll have a complete playoffs. We'll have a complete rundown of every game in the WPIAL and City League. We'll cover the City League Championship Saturday. So a lot to do over the next few weeks, Keith Barnes. And for Keith Barnes, I'm Mike White of the Post-Gazette on Varsity Extra Podcast. Everyone, be good.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.